Alright, so here comes a very, very exciting move. It's called Stardust, and it's a combination of both Bullet, the one-handed card twirl, and this neat little card twirl that goes through your fingers, and the card is launched with your pinky and your ring finger. You just kind of launch the card and catch it. So, bam, catch it, and that's essentially it. But the move looks something like this. So it's a very, very neat move. It looks like a whole lot is going on, and a lot kind of is going on. It's not very difficult to do, but it's one of those things that was actually first done by Jeff McBride, this little twirl right here. And it started a whole new kind of movement. It's not quite as big as the Sybil, but it kind of had that same effect and revolution to where everyone today is doing these one-handed card twirls, and they're all very, very complex looking. And they make one look very, very good, and they're very, very easy. So their output ratio is very good. That means you put in a good amount of practice for a whole lot of return. And that's a very, very cool move that I think you'll like and you'll be excited to do. So let's get right into it. Alright, so let me briefly cover Stardust. What happens is you're going to start out with doing Bullet Shot into your other hand. From here, you're going to begin to execute the traditional card twirl through your fingers, as well as executing Bullet simultaneously in your other hand. So it's going to look something like this. As you're twirling, you're going to come around, you're going to execute Bullet. From here, you're going to execute Bullet once again as you're finishing up with this traditional twirl. And it's held between your ring finger and your pinky finger. So here, you finish Bullet. Notice it's face down now. You're going to launch the card like that, and it's going to land on top of the deck. And it's going to land face up. From here, to correct for that, you're going to finish by executing Bullet, and you're done. That's Stardust. It's simple, but kind of a lot is going on. With that said, though, let me clarify and get more in depth. Alright, so there are two prerequisites to know when learning Stardust. The first of which is the Bullet twirl, and the second is, of course, the traditional card twirl, which we'll be getting into right now. So here it is. You're going to start off by holding the card with just your index and your thumb fingers. Now from here, your middle finger is going to reach over to the long edge of the card, and it's going to grab it. From here, what you're going to do is you're going to let go of your thumb, and you're just going to extend the card out with your index and your middle fingers. So it's held with just those two fingers. But you're going to do it in such a way that you pop the card. And this is how you do it. Essentially what's going on is my index finger and my middle finger are kind of switching positions. My index finger goes from being on top of the middle finger to the bottom. So it's something like this. See this little pop? This little pop gives a lot to the twirl. Now, as you extend the two fingers, you're also going to be turning your hand downward, so your palm is facing the floor. So it's going to look like that. So that's the first phase of it. Now from here, you're going to continue to do these little motions that switch your fingers around like this. So your index finger is going to go from underneath to the top of the middle finger. Your ring finger is now going to grab the card, and it's going to proceed to go from on top of the middle finger to underneath the middle finger. And then your pinky comes over and grabs it from the ring finger and comes underneath. So now you're holding the card between your pinky and your ring fingers. So it's securely just held there. Now from here, you're going to curl both of those fingers underneath. You're just going to curl them in. And this is what you get. Now from here, what you're going to do is you're going to toss this card outward. So essentially, you're going to uncurl those two fingers, your ring finger and your pinky, as you turn your hand over. So palm from facing the sky to the floor. Okay, so it's just going to look like that. As you uncurl, you're also going to let them go. You're going to let go of the two fingers, and it's going to propel the card forward. Okay, so again, grab, extend, twist, turn your palm down, rotate, keep rotating with the fingers, curl with the ring and pinky, turn your palm towards the sky, and then let go as you turn your hand over. So it's going to look something like that, and it's going to land on top of the deck, and you're good to go. And that is the traditional card twirl. Now let's get into the sequence of Stardust. Alright, so once you have bullet twirl mastered, as well as the traditional card twirl with the flick, you can begin to do the Stardust sequence. Now, when you do the traditional card twirl, make sure you have it mastered so that you can actually do the flick and catch it with the same hand that you're flicking the card with, like that, okay? And then you can move on to Stardust. So let's begin. You're going to start with getting the card to your other hand. Now you can do this in a number of ways. Obviously, either just to thumb the card off into your other hand, or what I like to do and what Stardust uses is just the bullet shot and you catch the card into your other hand. Make sure you catch it overhand, but I'll get into that later because there are two versions to doing this technique. We'll go the first way, overhand, okay? So I caught the card so that the palm contacts the face of the card that's shot out. Or you can simply just thumb the card off and it would be just the same. So here we are. You're in this position and you're ready to execute the traditional card twirl, and you're going to begin to do just that. You're going to kind of rotate your body so that the traditional card twirl is now in focus so that they can see that hand, and you're going to begin to twirl. Now as you begin to twirl, you turn around, or rather turn your body so that the focus is on the deck and execute the bullet twirl. That's the first one. Now, instead of finishing bullet and coming to the bottom, leave it at the top. As soon as you get it face up, you turn your body again so that the focus is on the traditional card twirl. Now, as you get about here to where the card is already gripped with your pinky and your ring finger, you're going to turn back around again, and you're going to execute another bullet twirl, and the card will now correct itself and be face down. Now you use your index finger to align the card, and as soon as you push the index finger in and the card is aligned, you'll be already in position to throw this card onto the top of the deck. Once you've thrown it and it lands, you're going to want to correct for that by using the bullet twirl. So bullet card twirl, and now we're finished. So that's the sequence. Let's go through that one more time. So bullet, shot into your other hand with an overhand catch. You're going to turn your body. You're going to start to do the traditional card twirl. As you get midway, you turn again, execute one bullet. Now you turn your body again, continue the rotation, turn back around, execute another bullet. And then you'll be in position to throw the card on top of the deck. It'll land face up. You'll correct for it by using bullet. So that was the first method. The second method, the sequence is exactly the same, except instead of catching the card overhand like you do with your palm contacting the face of the card, instead you'll let it land on your hand so that the back is contacting the palm of your hand. Okay? Now what this is going to do is, again, after you kind of throw the card onto the deck, after doing the whole sequence, it'll land face down. It won't land like this, so you won't have to do the bullet at the end, which some people may prefer, because for the throw, the card kind of has to land perfectly almost. It doesn't have to land perfectly. You can get away with it. You'll have to compensate by adding a little bit of hand or arm movement, but if it lands fairly well, it'll be very easy to execute bullet. Sometimes, however, it doesn't, and it just becomes awkward to kind of turn the card around, but again, can be compensated for. However, if you don't want to do it like that, here it is, follow along for the second version. Again, everything is the same, except instead this time, you're just going to catch it underhand, okay? Now from here, again, you twirl, continue twirling, execute bullet once, continue twirling, then execute bullet twice. As soon as you get to kind of align the card, you just toss the card back onto the deck and you're finished. And that is the Stardust sequence. Let me give you a few more angles of this move. Bam. And the second method. And that's it. So here is how you would correct if the card doesn't land completely perfect. Sometimes it happens, but if you've been doing this kind of work, these card twirls for a while, the card does tend to land correctly, but sometimes you'll get it that the card lands like this, which is probably the worst case scenario. It lands horizontally, and the deck is, vertical. So this is what you would do. So if you were to do the whole sequence, and you're doing this, and the card lands, well, not right, you would just kind of let go of the deck, except for your index and your thumb are the only fingers that are holding it, and then you would just kind of pull the thumb towards you while your fingers come in contact. Your ring finger comes right here to the long edge of the card and corrects it, holds it, while your pinky pushes and orients it to the correct position. Now, this might be obvious, but you're obviously not going to do this when you're performing, or at least you're not going to let the audience see that you're doing that if you've caught the card wrong. Even if I catch the card wrong on video, you're never going to catch it, because I do a little subtlety that helps it seem like the card is being caught correctly, at least when you don't see it land completely perfect. This is what I do. As soon as I catch it, as soon as the card lands, and I'll know exactly right away if it doesn't. It'll just feel right or wrong in my hands, and you'll know that as well. But as soon as you feel that it's wrong, you turn your hand over, and you kind of move your arm around like this. And what you're doing is you're doing this move exactly, but underneath, or your palm facing the floor, so they don't get to see that. And you're doing that as you roll your kind of hand around back to, your palm facing the sky. So you're doing this. So catch this, okay? And it's a very fluid, kind of a seamless motion. And it kind of makes it seem like the card is caught perfectly, okay? And that's just one little subtlety of making it seem like the card is being caught perfectly and everything is completely smooth and natural. Alright, so that was the Stardust sequence. It's an amazing, amazing move. I use it all the time. Here are some things to keep in mind when doing it, though. Remember to do that little arm roll that I showed you. And I think I explained it by saying I think about it, and then I turn my hand over. But in reality, no matter how I catch the card, whether it's correctly oriented or not, I always turn my hand over, swing my arm around, and roll my wrist back correctly to the correct position. It's just a habit. It's something I've developed as part of my style. I think it helps it along both aesthetically and technically, obviously correcting the card in the process. So it's something to think about whether you want to use or not. Now this move, or this sequence rather, can be done in a multitude of ways. You can use it the way I've taught you it, which is this. So you catch, you do bullet, you turn, you do the traditional card twirl, you turn, you do bullet one more time, you toss the card back onto the deck, catch, and bullet for the last one. You don't have to do this body rotation like I do, but I found that aesthetically this is the best thing to do, because if you did it without those body motions, if you just kept them here as you're doing it, it kind of convolutes the move and it makes it seem overly complicated, which can be a good thing, but there are plenty of moves that can do that. I think that this move, when turning your body and doing it with the style that I showed you, retains its complexity while, still being aesthetically pleasing to the eye without getting too, over the top and too chaotic. So I think, again, something to think about when you're doing it, either to keep it simple or, well, complicated and chaotic. That's not the way I prefer to do it, but you certainly can develop it to fit your needs. So a couple things also to keep in mind is just practice the move. This is something that, doing it a million times that you're going to be smooth with, and I think at first when you start these moves, you're going to be very robotic and very mechanical when doing it. It's going to be kind of choppy, but no worries. Once you've been doing this move for quite a while, I think you'll get it smooth. And remember to relax when doing this move. I think that's the most important thing, is to just be relaxed and have your hands not have such a death grip on the cards, and that'll really help it along. So again, that is the Stardust sequence. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a great move. It's one of my favorites, and I use it all the time.